Howdy folks, welcome back to Doing Brew. Okay, so we're continuing on with our bathroom remodel project. We've already installed the new bathtub and the installation of the cement board on the floor in preparation for our tile job on the floor. Today, we're going to be working on two niches for shampoo and soap and such. One here at the back of the tub, and the way we're going to do this is, since we have this stud here, I don't want to remove that. We're going to center the niche above the tub, which means we'll come out from this stud 16 inches, and that'll make a nice centered box above the tub. And we're going to build our niche, we're going to rough it out to 15 inches in height, with the overall finished height of 13 inches, and that will accommodate almost any type of large shampoo bottle. And then we're also going to install a niche over on this side, a little bit smaller. We'll build it as to not to interfere with the copper line here for the shower head. And I'm going to see if we can actually build this one with 2x6 material and go a little bit deeper. So with that, we'll go ahead and cut up our stud lumber for our niche rough-in. And the first pieces that we'll cut out are the top and bottom pieces of the niche that'll be centered on the wall at the back of the bathtub. I'm cutting these two pieces to fit between the two existing studs that are installed at 16 inches on center. Next, I'm going to drill some pocket holes at the ends of each of these 2x4s. More on that in just a moment. Now, it's a good idea to put down some protective material on our brand new bathtub, and Jax, a beautiful golden retriever, stopped by to check out the job. We want to take the time to mask off our new tub. We wouldn't want to scratch up that pretty porcelain surface before the bathroom's even done. I'm going to apply a little liquid nails to the ends of the 2x4 before I install it, just for a little added security. Now, I'm being real careful there with the hammer. I don't want to knock on it too hard because I've got a finished drywall in the room next door, and I don't want to damage that in any way. So you want to be real nice and gentle as you get your 2x4 in place. Of course, we want to check and make sure it's level, because this is the foundation for our shelf, and it looks pretty good there. Now I'm going to put one screw in the front hole on each side of our 2x4. By putting just one screw in each side, it'll let us still be able to move that 2x4 ever so slightly, as you'll see here in the next step. Now I'm tapping the back edge of the 2x4 up just a little bit, and now I'm going to tap it down just a wee bit. Want to make sure that the slope of the board is away from the wall. That way we don't collect any water towards the back of our niche. Once we're happy with our slope, which is ever so slight, I'm going to secure that board permanently. Now we're marking off our 15-inch height. That's a rough height, which will finish out to about 13 inches when all of the concrete backer board and tiles are in place. We'll follow the same exact process to get our top 2x4 in place. We'll make sure it's level, and then we'll screw it into place. And of course, no reason to slope this board. You want it to be level and true all the way across. Now, with the pocket holes, in the past, we might just go ahead and toe nail or toe screw the ends of the boards in. But with pocket holes, I can do that without any damage whatsoever. So the end result is a much stronger joint overall. And next up, we're going to measure out for the width of our niche, which we're shooting for about 15 inches. And we'll tap that board into place. Now remember, don't be too overly aggressive with your hammer, because you've got joint compound right there on the other side of that 2x4. Okay, so we'll work to get this plumb, which of course is level in the vertical. And that's looking pretty good. Then the next thing we need to do here is to make sure that 2x4
is square on the 2x4 that it's joining to and to the wall behind it, because you wouldn't want our tile flaring out at all. So a couple light taps of the hammer brings that front edge to the left a little bit. Looks good on the top. So we're level, true, and plumb. Oh, we'll go ahead and secure that from the top and the bottom.
We have the rough end for the first niche done. Now I'm going to work on the rough end here. And we have quite a bit of space. This is kind of the utility space back here. And I have plenty of room for a much wider shelf. And personally, I do like to have the extra room on the shelf so you can have maybe a couple of bottles of shampoo and not just a very narrow little shelf right on the edge. So let's go ahead and take some measurements and build this out. We're gonna have to work around this piece of copper here, but that shouldn't be a big deal. I'm just gonna cut around it with the jigsaw and we'll just support all the way across. Let's go ahead and get started.
And a couple of quick measurements and we'll head on down to the saw, start cutting out our 2x6s for this niche. Hey folks, make sure you stick with me to the end of this video for a preview of what's coming up next. For my top and bottom pieces, I'm gonna make one measurement, one mark. I'm gonna make a cut just on the right side of that mark. Then I'm gonna stack my boards together. That way I can get two identical pieces for the top and bottom. Now I'm going to follow the exact same process for cutting out my side pieces, the vertical pieces that will connect the top and bottom. And now I'm going to kind of dry fit that piece in there, make my marks for my cut around that copper pipe. And I decided to use a spade bit as opposed to jigsaw, a little bit quicker certainly, and maybe a little cleaner too. And it worked out great. Next up, I'm going to use the pocket hole jig again, drill some pocket holes in the ends of our 2x6s. It really makes a big difference in a nice, clean, secure attachment point. And as always, using a little bit of liquid nails prior to putting that board in place.
Get back. Some words can ride you on your back. I played the man who thought I knew. We tore a hole in the breakthrough. Get it back.
And just as before, I'm only putting screws in those forward front pocket holes, and then I'll go back and get a slight slope to my 2x6 to ensure water runoff in the niche, and then I'll secure the back pocket holes with two more screws, 4 screws total. Now time to install our vertical pieces. That'll be the walls of the shelf. Pretty simple with liquid nails and a couple of screws. And as before, we want to make sure it's square. I'm just using my square here kind of as a hammer to knock that into place. Secure it with a second screw, and then we'll put the second one in place. Now here I'm going to be careful to ensure that I'm backed off from the copper pipe, a 1/4 inch or so, making sure that board is square as well. And while I'm not showing it, I did use the level to ensure that those boards were plumb. Next up, we'll be attaching the top board, the top of our shelf, and we'll be using the exact same method that we've used throughout the project. And checking it for level, and it looks good. And one thing I want to point out, you want to make sure that your boards are in line with any other structural members. If they're sticking out too far or in too far, then your concrete backer board is going to bow either in or out a little bit. So you want to try and make that as flush as possible. Here I'm using the pocket hole jig again to drill some holes that will aid me in attaching some boards to the back of the shelf. You need to have something back there that you can put your concrete backer board against and secure it with some screws. Now I'm only doing pocket holes on the bottom, not necessarily because I want to, but because I have to. It'd be too difficult to get around that vent pipe to secure this board through the back of the shelf. The 3 other boards will just simply screw from the back into the structural members of the shelf. And with that, we are done building our 2 niches. So you can see how these 4 boards will provide a good way to attach that concrete backer board to the back of our niche. Nice and solid. There's one last look at that niche and the one we previously built. So thanks a lot for joining me on this video, folks. Here's a quick look at what we're going to see next time. I'll show you how to measure and cut 1/2 inch Durock concrete backer board. And then we'll go over the installation and securing it with our rock-on screws. So hey, I hope you joined me for that video, folks. It's been a lot of fun knocking out this project. I hope you're enjoying it, and if you have, please hit that thumbs up button. And you may want to consider subscribing to Doing Brew so you don't miss any videos in the Bathroom Renovation Series, and to ensure that you're included in the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Best luck on all your projects, folks. I'll see you back here next time on Doing Brew.